Live united.
Live united.
Live united.
Live united.
Live united.
Live united.
Vivimos juntos.
We live united.
We live united.
I live united.
Live united.
Hello and welcome to Live United, a show that explores how when community partnerships are formed and when people work together, lives are enriched and changed for the better. I'm Milton Little, host of Live United. When it comes to the community work taking place through United Way of Greater Atlanta, some people think the geographic area we serve is just the city of Atlanta. That couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, our United Way serves 13 counties that include Butts, Clayton, Coweta, Cherokee, Cobb, DeKalb, Douglas, Fayette, Fulton, Gwinnett, Henry, Paulding, and Rockdale County. That's a total region population of about 4 million people. We'll dedicate this show to some of the challenges and solutions evolving in several of our service counties and introduce you to a few key leaders and volunteers working together to make our region a better place for every resident. Whether it's boosting early learning programs and decreasing the amount of low birth weight babies in Rockdale County, or providing more primary health care to underserved people in Butts County, or even decreasing the number of unnecessary emergency room visits in Henry County. We are taking a community approach involving local organizations and citizens to address these issues in every county. So let's get started and find out more about how several United Way county partnerships are improving lives and advancing Atlanta's goals in education, income, health, and homelessness. We want to welcome to the show Claire Klein, who is the United Way Regional Director for Butts, Rockdale, and Henry counties. And joining her is Jessica Steele, Rockdale County Public Schools Early Learning Coordinator. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you here. Claire, many people think that the problems in the region are really isolated to the cities. They don't really think of any challenges that exist in suburban counties or in the outer ring well beyond 285. What's your take on that?
I truly understand what you're saying because we hear that a lot, especially out in the counties outside of the perimeter, that we don't have problems. But then you look a little bit deeper and with community leaders, you begin to see that yes, there is a homeless problem. It doesn't look like it does in the city of Atlanta. It might be women and children living in rent-by-the-week motels. Health care, just look at the numbers of folks that are using the emergency room as their medical home, and it goes on and on. So yes, there are problems out in the counties outside of the perimeter, but they're being addressed.
And in your role as regional director, what's the responsibility you take in helping the community address those issues?
Okay. My responsibility is being first the point of contact for United Way in the communities I serve. That I am the face of United Way in the 3 counties I'm working in Butts, Rockdale, and Henry. And working with community leaders, the local advisory boards, the community partners and grantee partners, and addressing some of those needs. Working with those community leaders and volunteers and defining what are the priorities, what's the most challenging initiative or problem that we have that we need to address first. In some of the counties, it's health care. In some of the counties, it's homelessness. In some of the counties, it's early learning. So the county decides, the community decides what they would like to address first or put their priority energy in.
Must be enjoyable for you to be able to look at those challenges, but also be able to bring the people and other kinds of resources together to try to address them.
Yes, it is, but it's also very much of a challenge, especially working with our focus leads through United Way. And resources are thin. We know that across the region. and seeing what we can do in a collaborative nature to address some of these issues.
Jessica, I'll ask you a similar kind of question. When people in the region hear about high school dropouts, or they think about kids not getting to kindergarten with the skills they need to be successful, or other kinds of issues, a lot of times they think about, you know, Atlanta Public Schools as the place that we're talking about. Do those kinds of challenges exist in a place like Rockdale?
Absolutely. It's really important to understand the community in which you live, and to put it in perspective, Rockdale County is the second smallest county in the state of Georgia, and it is the smallest county in the metro Atlanta area. We have a population growth rate that is higher than the state average and much higher than the national average. But on the flip side of that, we have a median income growth that's very low. It's only about 4% as compared to Atlanta and the country, which is sitting at about 9%. So those combined factors really impact how children are coming to us, what's happening to them once they get into school, and ultimately what's going on once they leave school.
So an interesting issue. You've got tremendous population growth. You don't have high income growth, but you've got more and more, obviously, children entering the school system. What kind of challenge does that pose to you and other administrators?
Many. The free and reduced lunch percentages in Rockdale County are currently sitting at about 69% system-wide. And
that's almost 7 out of 10 kids.
Yes, and in some schools we're looking at 87% and 88%. So it's incredibly high. So you know that as an educator, when a child comes to you from a home that doesn't have the resources, whether it's education resources, money to pay their power bill, money to get primary care, health, medical care, then they're going to come to you with more than just a lack of educational knowledge. Their parents probably are going to have some issues as well that they need addressed, and we cannot address a child's concerns without addressing a family's concerns. And that's truly what the United Way has helped us do in Rockdale, is to address the entire family as well as our community.
There's something called the PACE program that's operating in Rockdale County. First, tell us what PACE stands for, and then tell us a little bit about what it's trying to do.
PACE is a very exciting project in Rockdale County and throughout the metro area. We were very fortunate to be part of this project, and it stands for Partners Advancing Childhood Education. So our focus is making sure that children have access to early learning, quality early learning opportunities, that families have the support that they need. We do that through home visitation and the Parents as Teachers program, that families understand what it truly means to transition into school, that the schools are ready, the community is ready, and the child is ready, and that we have that training and that staff development, that network that helps not just the teachers in the public school system, but also the providers in our community, so that they know what they need to do to help prepare children to be ready to enter school.
Could you say a little bit more about that home visitation program? Sounds a little invasive.
Oh, no, it's a wonderful, wonderful model. And the Parents as Teachers program is actually a national program and began in St. Louis, Missouri. So home visitors are partners with parents, and they go into the home and they help a parent set goals for themselves. They help a parent identify what do they need to work on as a family so that they can help better prepare their child for school. They do all kinds of resource networking, but their ultimate goal is to make sure that the family unit is strong and solid. It's completely voluntary, but we have a waiting list a mile long because parents are begging for help and they don't know where to get it.
That's exciting. So it's an idea that's got community involvement. It's got people actually inviting folks to come in their house and help them become better parents and get those kids ready for school. That's exciting.
Absolutely.
What's going on in some of the other counties that you cover? I mean, I know we've got some health issues in the Southern Crescent, and that may be something that United Way is involved with as well.
Absolutely. In Butts County, the last couple of years, it was noted by the community leaders that there was really no resources for primary health care, that those individuals that were limited insured or uninsured or the working poor did not have any place to go but a local emergency room for primary care. So with partnerships through United Way and Kaiser and Southside Medical, they have now a mobile unit that comes into the community, and over the past 9 months, they've served over 500 individuals, non-duplicating individuals with that mobile unit. Now the Health Council, that is very much part of the community in Butts County, is looking towards building a permanent location. So that's on the horizon for them to meet these health needs in the community and take the pressure off our local emergency rooms and help people like Jessica was talking about with the wraparound services to make sure that the family's healthy, the children are healthy, so that better school, better work, and to find that medical home for them. Same is going on in Henry County with a partnership with Piedmont Henry Hospital. They're in the process of doing their assessment and saying what are some of the needs, and they're finding that where are those medical homes for those individuals that do not have enough insurance to take care of themselves and their children.
We've got less than a minute left. Claire, how can somebody who's sitting home in Butts or Rockdale County who's excited about what you're saying get involved in the work that's being done?
Thank you for asking. We're always looking for volunteers that are interested in getting involved. It's a simple phone call. To make it simple, they can call the United Way Help Referral Line 211 instead of trying to give a long number and just say, how do I get involved in these communities? Right now we have the investment program that's coming on. We're looking for investment volunteers. We're also looking for individuals that would like to work in some of our collaborative networks that has the expertise, whether it's in education or around health care. There's always opportunities to get involved with United Way in our local communities. That's
great, always a place. Any final thought for anybody, Jessica?
I would say that a final thought would be that there's no Band-Aid for the issues that affect the Atlanta metro area, and that when a community truly comes together in partnership, that there are many, many wonderful things that can happen, but it does take the community to fix the community.
Well, thank you, Claire. Thank you, Jessica, for stopping by. You're showing how nonprofits and government agencies, private citizens, and other businesses are working together to have a big impact all across Metro College in Atlanta. At United Way, our mission is for every individual and family to thrive. And we'll accomplish that by guaranteeing that every Greater Atlanta resident has within their grasp the opportunities, services, and supports needed to thrive, regardless of their neighborhood or zip code. We need to make the place they live irrelevant as a factor that determines how long they live, the quality of the life they live, or the extent of their ability to reach their possibilities. Whether you live in Atlanta or one of the surrounding counties, we're more than just a connected region on a map. We are connected lives that can do more to make our home a better place to live, work, and play. That's what we mean when we say, let's be Greater Atlanta. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Today we're talking about United Way's community impact in several of our 13 county service areas. In this next segment, we are joined by Demetrius Jordan, Regional Director for Gwinnett, DeKalb, and Fulton counties, Marcia Anderson-Bomar, Gwinnett Advisory Board Chair and Principal at Stantec, and Emmeline Williams, DeKalb Advisory Board Chair and Communications Director for Economic Development at Georgia Power. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Demetrius, let's start with you, and I'll go back to a question I asked our previous guest. A lot of people think about the challenges in communities, really, but through the lens of what's happening in cities. They think about cities as really the only place where there are educational issues or unemployment issues. What's the landscape look like in the region that you cover?
Sure. In DeKalb, Gwinnett, and Fulton counties, I mean, these are three of our largest counties in the state. They are home to three of the largest population of folks who are living below the poverty line. So there's great need. There's also great progress and great support for the families who struggle. As I think about the challenges for the families in these counties, we think about it in three ways. Sort of one, access to jobs. Individuals with job skills who need job skills so that they can access to jobs that are out there and that are available for them in a very dynamic workforce. Access to relevant and timely services for that single mom who works in the evening, second, third shift, but who needs a place for her children. And then last, it's just sort of this need for local and civic leadership, the ability to know that communities can't wait for leaders from outside their communities to helicopter in and take care of the issues, but can actually address some of the solutions, address some of the issues with local-based private and public solutions.
Now, part of what United Way is doing this year is rolling out community plans that are looking at the challenges in very specific ways in a community and creating solutions. Tell us a little bit about how that process is working.
Absolutely. Milton, we've listened to our partners, our stakeholders across the communities, and recognizing the value of sort of detailing, if you will, sort of our local strategies, or local measurements, sort of how the work gets done at the county level. To accelerate our work towards a thriving community, what we've done is we've drafted a plan that highlights not only our investments, but what other community partners are doing. With that plan and with that information, our advisory boards are taking a look at sort of ways to fill the gap, looking at opportunities to leverage local resources so we can have the kind of impact that we all expect and want.
Gotcha. And what's the role of an advisory board chair? And specifically, what are you concerned about in DeKalb?
DeKalb County, I will have to say, has a fabulous advisory board. We have folks who have lived in the community for some period of time. And the advisory board in general is to have these leaders from the community to use their influence, their knowledge, and their expertise to help United Way further its mission of creating sustainable change in the areas of education, income, homelessness, and health. And like, for example, we have the head of DeKalb Public Health, Dr. Elizabeth Ford, is on our advisory board, and quite a few other members who really are able to help promote these things. And we all share a common love for our communities and passion for United Way to help create that change and make DeKalb a better place to live.
Well, that's great. And Marcia, you play the same kind of role in Gwinnett.
I do. I have that honor. Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what the landscape looks like from the chair's role in Gwinnett.
Well, we over the last couple of years have really focused in on some very specific, highly collaborative programs. It's really energized our board, and if I could tell you about one of them, the GRIP program that we have.
Sure.
We have the county jail, and we have inmates being released, oftentimes without any place to go, without any services available to them. And so the GRIP program, which is the Gwinnett Reentry Intervention Program, was established, and it's really leveraging the resources of United Way with many, many partners, actually more than we even imagined. So we have housing solutions being brought by some members of the community through Sound Landing and Home of Light. We have health care options being brought to them through the Samaritan Health Center. And then we have employment opportunities being brought to them through Viewpoint. So that was the beginning of the conversation, and now we're finding that the judges, the attorneys, the prosecutors, many other community members are stepping up and want to provide services, want to provide linkages with the goal of reducing recidivism. We're trying very hard to take the offenders who serve their time, who meet certain qualifications, and connect them with the services that will help keep them out of jail, that will get them on the right track to a better future.
I don't know that people really understand that there are people that are released from jail who really don't have a place to go. They don't have family, they don't have community connections. And so they, this is something that probably never crossed the mind of a lot of people, but somehow the Gwinnett folks got an idea that they needed to solve this problem.
Well, our sheriff and some of the other, the attorneys in the area, along with Demetrius, really put together just a tremendous program opportunity And with the support of the Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners, we were able to advance the program. And now, as I said, so many other people are stepping up to help make the program even more successful than we imagined.
That's great. Demetrius, I'm going to ask Em and Marcia a little bit about opportunity zones and how they play out in their counties. But before I do, say a little bit about what an opportunity zone is and how it fits into the county plans that you're part of.
Absolutely. The opportunity zone is an idea, it's a concept that if you can layer services, directly coordinated services in each of the core focus areas, education, income, health, and provide those with families, individual families that, in fact, the opportunity for stabilization, sustainability are greater. The opportunities are much faster. But it takes, particularly 3 areas in order for an opportunity to be identified, and there are 4 within our region. 1, high need. There's a need in the community. Obviously, we want to identify places where there's the greatest need. The second is assets. If there are resources and assets already dedicated to some of the issues, then if we could just sort of corral those and work with them, I think we'll have a better opportunity towards success. And then the third is just local will. Does the community have a will, an appetite to address the issues and to do it in a collaborative way? And we found that in these communities they do.
And there's an opportunity zone in DeKalb.
Yes, there is. And in fact, it's the Scottdale Clarkston Opportunity Zone. And talking about advisory boards, in November, at our advisory board meeting this past November, we actually did a tour. We dedicated that entire period of time, that 2-hour meeting, to familiarize ourselves, as an advisory board with what's going on in the Opportunity Zone. And we had about 15 of our board members that toured, and we went to Toby Grant Community Center. We got to meet some of the families who are receiving services as a result of this collaborative effort. We went to Radio Segal, is that what it was?
Right.
That broadcasts in multiple languages because of the large number of refugee populations that are there. But yeah, we were very glad that DeKalb was identified to have one of these opportunity zones for focus. And this particular opportunity zone is a collaborative effort between the county government and, as Demetrius said, all the agencies and partners and other residents and businesses in that geography. Scottdale Clarkston is kind of interesting in that it's 2 communities. They're geographically close together, but they're very different from each other. Particularly in the Clarkston area, there's a lot of refugees. In fact, some say that DeKalb County is the most diverse in the state and possibly even in the southeast because of a lot of the immigrant populations come and settle there. But there are services for those folks, but a lot of them live in low-income housing. Their children are trying to assimilate into the culture, the language barriers, and as a result, the children often continue to struggle in school with test scores in the 1st, 4th, and 8th grades, lagging significantly behind the metro averages. But today, the Opportunity Zone is working with 51 families, and they are engaging 232 parents and their children in the education, income, health, and homelessness change.
That's exciting.
It is.
I got a chance to see some of the Opportunity Zone work with the Atlanta Hawks last year at the Thanksgiving feeding. And the year before, got a chance to see the Gwinnett Opportunity Zone with the Hawks. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in Gwinnett and the Opportunity Zone.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. The area of Gwinnett where we have the Opportunity Zone, it's the Norcross Meadow Creek area. And over time, the demographics of that area have changed, and a lot of challenges for the community arose. And so again, through, and I love United Way is just all about collaborating, bringing the resources that are already in the community to bear to help the community. And so I look at this Opportunity Zone as a way of really digging deeper into the needs of the community and really providing a rich resource to the families that want the opportunity, that are willing to work hard to raise themselves up out of their circumstances. So we have, again, programs across the full spectrum, training in things that some of us really take for granted, you know, opening a bank account, managing your money, learning how to be a homeowner, parents learning English language skills so that they can actually help their children instead of the children having to be the translator for the parents. So right now we have about 90 families, about almost 200 parents and children in the program. But the program has served such a broad need. We've had well over 7,000 people come through and use some of the services. It's a one-stop shop, so no matter what you need, you have the opportunity to take that limited resource of transportation and come one place and get many, many needs addressed. So it's been a tremendous resource for that community.
And probably two words that, regardless of the origin, country of origin of the people or whatever, that they said in my experiences with the opportunity zones, they were thank you. Everybody just said thank you for what's going on. So Demetrius, we don't have a whole lot of time left in this segment. Say a little bit more about maybe one or two other big things that's happening in the area that you cover, and then offer an invitation to our viewers. What can they do if they want to become involved?
Sure. Well, I do want to mention that we do have an opportunity zone also in South Fulton community in College Park as well. They're working also again with about 50 families. Again, just seeing that community come together around these issues that are a real challenge for us has been significant, and not only that, but the outpouring of community folk who said, you know, not in my backyard, we're going to get it straightened out, and we're going to do it here. And so we've been really pleased about that. How folks can get involved. We've been very fortunate. We've got advisory boards from these three amazing communities in Gwinnett, DeKalb, and Fulton counties. But we need more. We need more participation in this year's investment process. We're at the beginning of a process I like to call as one of our greatest examples of how democracy works. And so, you know, it's volunteers that come from all walk of life who have an opportunity to review applications. They actually deliberate on the issues, and they make funding recommendations out of our community impact pool. You can always go to our website. You can call 211 if you want to be a volunteer. But right now we're looking for approximately about 180 volunteers, almost 200 volunteers between Gwinnett, DeKalb, and Fulton counties.
Well, let's get those volunteers. Thank you, Demetrius. Thank you, Em. Thank you, Marcia, for what you're doing. Thank you for your dedicated service. You guys are great. And I look forward to lots of people joining you in your great work. I'd like to take a moment to thank and salute every partner agency, every donor, every advisory board member, all the volunteers and staff who work so hard to make a difference throughout the counties. When you consider issues like homelessness, it's not simply an inner city issue, as you've heard. When you look at poverty levels, they're just not urban problems. If we disregard borderlines and zip codes and let the strength of our compassion reach across the boundaries, only then can we truly be Greater Atlanta. We'll see you next time.